Neurons are cells that are specifically given the task of transmitting information. And neurons, the nervous system is composed of neurons. So these neurons have an electric component to them, and they have a chemical component to them. The electric releases chemicals, and then those chemicals are received by another neuron that there's a connection with. There's a network that is formed of different neurons, and in this way, information travels. Through our experiences, these networks become more complicated and advanced. When we experience something, for example, fire, our first time experiencing fire, it's very beautiful. It attracts us in a certain way. We get close to it, we feel pain. Now there's a new network that is formed to inform us that that is related to a danger. Okay, and then there's a visual cue. There might be some type of emotional cue about what was happening in that moment, emotionally what we're feeling. There could be a audio or a something related with the sense of smell. All of these things are encoded and remembered so that we can not be in danger in the future. So this forms when we're young. In the yogic science, the ages of 0 to 7 is the period of time that it takes to create the sense of self or identity or consciousness, the self-awareness. In this way, we have these experiences, depending on what they are, trigger different parts of the brain. Those parts of the brain sort of reflect different experiences, and higher parts of the brain start to function, recognize these patterns and label them. And this is what we call intelligence or intellect. As we grow, we start to learn more and more what is in the highest interest of ourselves and how we can perhaps find our place in the world and serve the world and feel a greater sense of connection with the world. And in so doing, it changes the networks and the way that we perceive things and the choices that we make. Every time a pattern plays itself out, the neural network fires and it continues to be held together. When we stop doing those things, leave those habits behind us and don't even think about them, don't even, as much as possible, bring in all the components that remind us of it, that trigger parts of our psyche that are related to it, it falls away naturally. On the contrast, when we're directing our energy in a positive direction, positive habits, and keep reinforcing that, it creates these new neural networks, which establishes new ways of expression, new ways of doing and being. This is a very top-down way of looking at things right now. It's like we're seeing that we have a choice. We really do have the choice when there's clarity inside of us. When we get triggered in a way where we perceive a threat, which is based on our conditioning, based on our experiences, the way that we're now wired because of all that we've experienced, there's a part of our nervous system that responds that there's this threat, and it shuts down the higher centers of perception, of cognition, where we're recognizing patterns, where we're able to make choices and decisions based on this higher vision from the top down. It shuts that down. So that's another aspect that makes things a little bit more challenging. Because what is actually underlying in the majority of the cases of human life on this planet, underlying our choices and our actions, is the aspect of ourselves that is trying to avoid pain. And addiction is very much related to trauma. Chase after the pleasure and avoid the pain. These emotions are underlying, in a very biological, animalistic sense, all of the choices that we're making. They may seem that we're doing it in a very conscious way. Sometimes we are, But a lot of times, what's directing and guiding these choices are these other currents. So we have the opportunity every single moment to change this whole construct of who we are, how we perceive the world, how we make decisions and express ourselves.